Live from WOWT, this is our First Alert 6 Weather Day.
And good morning, everyone. Nick Weig here with you at the Alert Center. We have a full court press of wintry conditions out there this morning, as not a lot is falling over the metro area, but the type of precipitation that's falling is what's causing all of the issues. A switch over from rain to sleet to snow has caused a lot of slick conditions. There's been a number of crashes already this morning that has impacted travel, especially along I-80 and 680 as well. Let's go ahead and take you outside right now to First Alert radar, and you can see kind of that hodgepodge there, the radar trying to decipher what is mixed precipitation and what is snow. Much of it on the east side of the metro has been falling as snow now, while on the west side of the metro it's been more of a rain, sleet, snow mix early this morning, and that is something that we have been tracking all morning long. Let's go ahead and throw this on a loop for you so you can get a better idea of what we've been dealing with if you're just waking up. The heavier bands are to the north of the metro, from Tacoma over to Harlan down to Atlantic. That is the area where we're anticipating upwards of maybe 6 inches of snow falling with this burst this morning. Closer to 1 to 4 here in the metro area, and it really depends on how that switch over to snow takes place, because eventually today most if not all of this is going to melt as temperatures rise above freezing. You see right now here in downtown Omaha we are sitting at 32 degrees. So that is why, because of those slick conditions, a winter weather advisory remains in effect until 1 o'clock this afternoon for the counties shaded in purple there. This does include Dodge, Douglas, Pottawatomie, and Sarpy counties, as well as Council Bluffs and Omaha, and then stretching off to the east towards Des Moines, where that snow will be falling as well later this morning. Traffic has been a problem. Let's take a look at the latest travel speed conditions, at least, and we are seeing some significant slowdowns where more of the wintry precipitation is happening, especially over along I-80 in Council Bluffs. We have seen a number of crashes near the I-80, along I-80 and I-480 this morning. Some of them mostly minor, allowing those impacted to get to the shoulder of the interstate, but we have had some impacts this morning that have had a greater impact on travel early this morning. So that is what we are watching right now. In fact, I'll take you outside. And we've been monitoring a crash this morning that really got going about an hour ago. This was along I-80 at the intersection of 13th Street. Let's take you out there live right now. And here you can see first responders do remain on the scene. However, traffic is moving somewhat, but several lanes remain blocked there as crews are responding to that. We do see slowly travel getting through, but obviously some slick conditions that have impeded travel. You see there is a semi on the side of the road, and I believe there are additional vehicles back where you see those emergency vehicles. Again, this is at I-80 at 13th Street. We also had a crash just a short time ago. This one was along I-80 eastbound on the off-ramp to 60th. This is a still image from the Nebraska Department of Transportation. Again, this was on the I-80 eastbound off-ramp at 60th Street. No word on any injuries, but the Department of Transportation is urging motorists in this area to be cautious and to slow down as slick conditions continue to persist. Those roadways look wet, but there are slick patches that they're still contending with as temperatures do remain at or below the freezing mark and snow and sleet continue to fall. Back now to the travel conditions out there right now. Obviously some slowdowns in several areas. Also getting some slowdowns near highways, I-480, or excuse me, Highway 275. Getting some slowdowns reported there as well. And 275 and 75 is where we're seeing some slowdowns. It looks like in the westbound lanes. Otherwise, especially those elevated roadways like 480, we're seeing a lot of problems. I-80 as well in that same area, we're seeing some slowdowns. And then over in the Council Bluffs area, we've seen several slowdowns, as well as further into western Iowa where more snow is falling than mixed precipitations. We're seeing a lot of slowdowns along I-80, 880, as well as I-29 north of Omaha. A lot of slowdowns as that heavier band of snow is falling over much of that area. Let's go back now to first alert radar. You see the mixed precipitation the radar is detecting. It's really falling in several modes right now. Anything between rain, sleet, snow, and a mix of all three in some cases. Most of it on the east side of the metro, especially closer to the river, you're seeing mainly snow mixed with sleet at times. And then further to the north, we're seeing much more of this falling as a heavy snow band. While places to the west in Elkhorn originally this morning, mostly rain mixed with sleet. Radar suggesting that is largely switched over to snow at this time. So again, we're keeping an eye on that. Really, it just depends on what you're seeing in your area. If you're seeing a wintry mix, that's a cause for concern. But if you're seeing largely rain, that's a good sign that roads may be doing a little bit better. But right now, the main concern is with that mixed precipitation, where it's mixing with sleet and snow. The sleet especially causing problems on area roadways, and then the snow just adding to problems, especially north and east of the metro, where it's falling at a much heavier clip. Let's go ahead and take a tour around the sky cams for you now. This is from First National downtown. You can see the either rain droplets or frozen drops on the camera lens there, and what appears to be a snowplow off in the distance. Take you live now to Children's, Nebraska. You see obviously not a lot of traffic yet at this early hour, but things moving a little slowly as that precipitation continues to fall. Let's go out now to 90th and Dodge. There you see, it looks as we're heading further west, largely just wet road conditions. Seeing a little bit of ponding on the roadway, but seeing that water kind of moving on the roadway is at least a good sign that icy conditions are not stretching too far to the west. And then let's head out even further to 144th and Dodge. There you see very wet conditions. Now, if you look at the bridge there, that overpass, that's an area that we'd be concerned with for icy conditions because there's no ground underneath it, there's no warming underneath it. And right now, we're not seeing any significant slick conditions this far to the west. So that is good news. If you're coming in on the west side, it looks like conditions are much, much better. You can see a little bit of snow is collected on grassy areas, but really hasn't accumulated even on the overpass there. So that's a good sign that conditions there are still doing well, as most of this is falling as rain, and also temperatures remain at or above freezing. And so the more traveled surfaces as opposed to grassy areas appear to be still doing quite well. Finally, here's a live look from the Blackstone. You can see the rain they're collecting, as we've been seeing a mixed bag of precipitation here downtown, and that is likely to continue here for some time as we move more into the thick of the morning commute. Back out now to first alert radar right now, and again, you know, the colors kind of tell the tale of what we're dealing with here. The lighter purple pink colors to the north near Missouri Valley and Minden, that appears to be heavy snowfall, very heavy snowfall that's falling this morning. Those darker purples, a sign of potential mixed precipitation. We have been seeing a fair amount of sleet in the Omaha metro area. Radar's really trying to determine what is falling as snow, what is falling as rain, what is falling as sleet, and it's a little bit of a tricky combination here because in many cases it's falling in some ratio of all three, as we are right at that freezing mark this morning. Let's go ahead and put this into motion as we back out to the greater area here, and you can see that most of it has been detected as snow, although on my way in this morning, a couple of hours ago, it was largely a mix especially in the downtown area. We were seeing a mix of snow and sleet, whereas it was more towards sleet and rain further west into the metro. And so basically, if you're traveling in the metro today, the further east you have to go, the closer you get to the river is going to be the main problem this morning. And then if you do need to travel into western Iowa, that is where the main concern is going to be. I-80 between Atlantic and 880 is a real mess right now, as very heavy snow bands are falling in that area. We'll have to try and take a look at that later this morning and see what we can find in that area. So because of all this, we do still have a winter weather advisory that will remain in effect until 1 o'clock this afternoon for the county, shaded in purple there. And this is for anywhere from 1 to 4 inches of snow, could go up to 6 or higher, especially in the Harlan and Atlantic areas. That's what we're watching for right now. And then very slick conditions expected in areas early this morning because of the conditions out there. Taking a look at the current travel speeds, seeing a lot of slowdowns across the area because of those slick conditions, especially on elevated roadways. Here in the metro area, we've had a number of crashes, especially along I-80 and I-480. Those have been the trouble spots. Right now, things on the map appear to be moving rather well, but I do caution a lot of that has to do with the fact that there's not a lot of traffic out there. So that we're likely going to see this, if temperatures remain below freezing, we're likely to see this deteriorate as more traffic gets out there, just adding to the issues. Let's take you back out live now to one of the, that's the wrong one. Let me switch that for you here. There we go. We'll take you back out live here to I-80 and 13th Street here in just a moment. There we go. This is I-80 westbound at 13th Street, and we do see travel moving a little bit better in that area, although first responders remain on the scene. We've seen a number of road crews coming through to treat the roadways. Hopefully that will help clear the scene and before the bulk of the morning rush, and we'll see this area clear out. But again, slick conditions do remain, especially on those elevated roadways. I-80 and I-480 have been particularly problematic this morning, and we will continue to monitor that. Again, we did have another crash along I-80. This was on the eastbound off-ramp at 60th Street. No word on any injuries. Appears to be likely just one vehicle that slipped off the roadway there, but obviously going to be slowing down travel while first responders are clearing that scene. Again, this was a crash just about 20 minutes ago reported on I-80 eastbound on the off-ramp at 60th Street. We're going to try and get another camera up for you. There's the latest traffic report. You see over in the Council Bluffs area still getting some significant slowdowns along the Missouri River as we continue to monitor where those slick conditions are popping up. We're still seeing a lot of green right now. I suspect a lot of that has to do with the fact that there's not a lot of travel out there right now. So for people who are out there, obviously taking it a little bit slower than usual, and that has prevented a lot of major problems. But as the traffic picks up, obviously that is going to get more and more concerning as conditions will likely remain difficult through the rest of the morning commute. Here's another look at live first alert radar. As you see, all forms of precipitation falling across the area there as the radar is trying to decipher what exactly is falling and where. That has become a problem as we continue to have some warm air aloft, but temperatures remain at or below freezing here in the metro area. And so the radar is trying to determine what exactly is falling. But the bottom line is right now, especially on elevated roadways, whatever is falling carries a risk of freezing on area roadways, and that has been part of the problem this morning. We do have As you can see from Takema over to Harlan, especially along I-80 west of Atlantic, very heavy snowfall in that area. We'll try and take a look at the Iowa Department of Transportation here a little bit later to see what we're seeing in that area. Again, a winter weather advisory remains in effect for the area until 1 o'clock this afternoon. And let's take a look and see if we can find out what's going on over on I-80 where that snow is falling this morning. And I don't think we have any cameras in that area that are really well lit up at this early hour. Fortunately, we don't have a lot of cameras in western Iowa once you get east of Council Bluffs, but we're going to see if we can find one here. Okay, let's take a look a little further to the east now. We're going to take you out live to Council Bluffs. This is I-80 westbound at the Harry Langdon Boulevard, and it's more of what we're seeing here in the Omaha proper area. Is some slick conditions out there, roadways. Really, especially as you see here, this elevated roadway. Can see some of those slick conditions more than just wet roadways, and so traffic there, you see what little traffic is out there this morning, definitely moving at a much slower clip. Still seeing what appears to be a mixed bag of precipitation falling in this area, seeing a few snowflakes on the camera, but again, regardless of what's falling, especially on those elevated roadways where you see that semi right now, that is the greater area of concern. You see him slowing down there on that turn. That's the right thing to do, as those roadways do remain slick at this early hour. Back now to First Alert Radar as we're continuing to monitor this heavier band of snow to the northeast of the metro area, stretching from West Point and Takema down towards Atlantic in western Iowa. Here, snow and a mixed bag, as you can see by that cavalcade of colors now developing on the radar as the radar is trying to determine what exactly is falling. But the problem is, regardless of what's falling here, as we switch over to live First Alert Radar, is the fact that temperatures in many areas remain at or below freezing. And that's especially problematic for those bridges and overpasses, which don't have that warmer ground underneath them to kind of help melt all of this. That's probably why you may be surprised to find slick conditions on roadways, because if you walk out this morning, your sidewalk might be just fine, especially on the west side of the metro. But as you're coming to the east, closer to the Missouri River, and then you hit those areas where there is no warm ground underneath the roadway, that's where the greatest risk exists right now for those slick conditions. And there are still slick conditions, especially on side streets, even if they do have the warm ground underneath them. Enough sleet and snow has fallen to create a lot of slick spots. So especially on some of those uh, hillier side streets in the metro area, that's going to be a problem throughout the morning during your commute. Now, despite all of this going on right now, we have not received any business or school announcements. So, as of this hour, and it is still early, everything does remain on schedule this morning, but we will continue to monitor that for you in case that does change early this morning. It is just, as you see there, 4:43 right now. So, this will continue to get worse as we move through the morning hours. We're going to go ahead and leave the radar up here for you as we take a bit of a break here. And when we come back, we'll do a full update and we'll also let you know about any crashes that are reported across the metro area. So far, the major crashes we've seen have been along I-80. There does remain one at I-80 and 13th Street that they're working to clean up right now, but traffic is still moving through that area relatively decently, so not blocking all of the lanes there in the eastbound lanes, I believe it was, at I-80 and 13th Street. We did have a more serious crash earlier this morning in that same general area, but traffic now moving through that area, fortunately. Crews do remain on the scene, but they've been able to open up enough lanes to get travel moving through that area again and get those roads treated. Still a lot of slick spots out there. So we'll let you know if we get any new information, and we will bring you a full update coming up in just a little bit.
Live from WOWT, this is a First Alert 6 weather day.
And good morning, everyone. Nick Weig here with you at the Alert Center as we are monitoring some slick conditions that are causing a lot of problems on area roadways, especially on the east side of the metro area as well as in western Iowa. This is something we've been telling you about for the last couple of days, is this band of snow and mixed precipitation developed overnight and has really been dumping a lot of precipitation, especially frozen precipitation in portions of the metro and areas east. Let's go ahead and take you out now live to First Alert Radar and give you an update on what's happening out there right now. There you see that mixed bag of precipitation falling as the radar is trying to decipher what is rain, what is snow, what is sleet, and what is all of the above right now. And it's really just a very mixed bag out there right now. And that is causing a lot of problems on area roadways. In fact, let's take you out live now to the First Alert Storm Tracker. There you see they're checking out a crash that's occurred, I believe, along I-80 here in the metro area. I believe this may be I-80 and 13th Street, where this crash has occurred earlier this morning. Traffic has been moving through, but they are still dealing with some issues there, as side streets are going to remain a little bit problematic here during the morning commute. We've also been monitoring conditions across the river. This is a look at Council Bluffs just a short time ago. There is a live picture as we get that up at westbound I-80 and Harry Langdon Boulevard. This is one of those problem areas where you have elevated roadways and overpasses with a curve, and so you see traffic there moving rather gingerly right now as they're trying to make their way through that area. We've also had a couple of other issues here. Let me see if I can fix this. There we go. A couple of crashes to tell you about. This one is on Highway 34 eastbound between Stanton and Villisca. This just reported to us in western Iowa a short time ago. Another crash that we did get word on, I-29 near Modale in western Iowa. This one, I believe, in the southbound lanes, and this also slowing down traffic where that snow and mixed precipitation is falling. So just some of the crashes that we're tracking for you early this morning across the area. Let's take you out now live to our sky cams. There you see from the First National downtown here in Omaha, some of that precipitation still falling across the area as a mixed bag of precipitation, especially on the east side of the metro area. Right now over at Children's, Nebraska, traffic moving along fine, although a little slow. Fortunately, still very early in the morning, so not a lot of traffic out there at this early hour, but unfortunately that is expected to pick up as we move through the morning hours as the sun comes up. Further out west at 60th and Dodge now, you see things look largely okay. Some ponding on area roadways, but no major slick spots. Or 90th and Dodge, excuse me, as we move further out to the west. And that's where largely rain has been falling, or temperatures on the ground have remained above freezing, unlike the eastern side of the metro. And then finally, here's 144th and Dodge, where we've been kind of monitoring that overpass where we were concerned about some slick conditions developing. So far, that is not the case, as that fine freezing line appears to be not being reached on the western side of the metro area. That's the good news. Back here downtown at the Blackstone, you see that precipitation continuing to fall. But again, not a lot of major problems yet, except with the exception of the slushy conditions on some of those side streets because of the conditions out there this morning. Let's take you back now to First Alert Radar right now. This is a live look at what the radar is deciphering with all of that, the different modes of precipitation it's trying to determine that's falling. Regardless of what's falling, the bad news for especially downtown area and points to the north and east, this is where the greatest concern lies for slick conditions as the roadways remain a little bit slick because of that freezing temperature, especially along bridges and overpasses early this morning. We'll go ahead and zoom out and put this in a loop for you. You can see how things have kind of transpired. You see those lighter purples up between Tacoma and Harlan over towards Atlantic. That is where the heavier snow band is falling. That is where we're seeing a lot of the deteriorating conditions along I-80 and I-29 and area roadways. We're seeing that snow and mixed precipitation in the Red Oak area. That's where we've been seeing some crashes reported along Highway 34 in western Iowa. And then here in the Nebraska side, we are seeing a handful of crashes in the metro area from those slick conditions across the area. So again, a winter weather advisory remains in effect until 1 o'clock this afternoon for the counties shaded in purple. This does include the Omaha metro area, as well as Wahoo, Fremont, Tacoma, Harlan, Atlantic, Red Oak, and more, as those conditions will remain a little problematic in areas until we do get above freezing later this morning. And then we should see most, if not all of this in our area. Any snow that is stuck to the ground should melt off. So fortunately, this is a short burst of winter weather. Hopefully they'll last for the season, but unfortunately it's just falling at a very inopportune time as the morning commute begins to ramp up here over the next hour or two. The one bit of good news is so far this morning we have not seen any reports of any school announcements. Everything remains on time this morning as road crews remain out there trying to clear the way before those buses hit the roads later this morning. We continue to keep an eye out on area roadways. We have been monitoring this crash that occurred this morning in the westbound lanes of I-80 at 13th Street here in Omaha. Crews remain on the scene of that crash. Reportedly, one person was taken to the hospital as a result of this crash, but as you can see here, traffic is beginning to move a little bit better now. But still some slick spots out on those roadways. Does have traffic moving relatively slow for the morning commute. We will have to see if conditions can improve before the rush this morning really kicks in. As you can see there in the bug on your lower right, temperatures here downtown remain right at the freezing mark. And so that is producing some problems as that snow, sleet, and rain continue to fall across the metro. Back now to that winter weather advisory that we're under until 1 o'clock this afternoon. We'll switch over to first alert radar. As you see the precipitation continuing to fall, it is going to fall for some time this morning. As we zoom out a little bit here, you can see that band fortunately avoiding the metro area, but really impacting portions of I-29, I-80, and 880 as well in eastern Nebraska and western Iowa. And as a result, we have had a report of a number of crashes in the area. 480 and 80 have been a real problem here in the metro area. And then off in western Iowa, we've had a couple of crashes reported just within the last few minutes. Highway 34, there you see between Stanton and Highway 71, crash reported there, causing problems in the eastbound lanes. And then also the southbound lanes of I-29 near Modale in western Iowa has slowed down traffic in that region as well. We do also have the First Alert Storm Tracker out there right now. They're monitoring area road conditions. You can see there on their camera that snow and sleet has collected on those roadways, and that is a problem. Obviously, where traffic is moving through a little bit clearer, but again, it is 32 degrees right now. So regardless of what's falling, that can still cause some slick and slushy conditions. Fortunately, where they are right now, it looks mainly just wet, but in areas not traveled, as well as those grassy surfaces, you see that snow collecting on the area roadways. Let's go ahead and take a look at those traffic conditions out there right now. There you see one of the crashes reported this morning here in the metro area. I believe this is the one we've been telling you about. Yes, so this was the one that actually was reported a couple of hours ago at I-80 eastbound and 13th Street. That is still a problem at this hour, so traffic remains slow through that area. If we zoom out here, you can see I-80 in western Iowa really becoming a problem as travel is slowing down in that area quite a bit. We're also seeing a slowdown here along, this is where we saw that crash between Highway 71 east of Red Oak along Highway 34. Traffic has been a little slow going, and then the crash south of Missouri Valley on I-29 has really slowed down traffic. Really, while it may not look bad on the map right now, a lot of that has to do with the lack of traffic out there right now. The concern is with these crashes, if we do continue to see crashes throughout the morning hours and crews are still working to get those cleared out of the way, we're going to have to be dealing with much slower travel across the metro area as well as the greater viewing area as that snow and sleet continue to fall until we can get temperatures above freezing, get the precipitation to switch over to snow and then eventually warm up this afternoon, and that should prevent any problems during the evening commute. We just got to get through this morning with some isolated slick conditions in areas and could see anywhere from 1 to 4 inches of snow. We're seeing a lot of mix right now in the metro. Hopefully that will keep the snow totals down, but further to the north and east, much heavier snowfall is possible, anywhere from 3 to 6 inches, especially in that Atlantic to Harlan area where that heavier snow band is falling right now. We'll take you back to live First Alert radar right now, and you see that mixed bag we've been telling you about falling across the area this morning. And if we zoom out, you can see the radar really detecting that heavy snow that's just really been sitting right over that arc from West Point to Tacoma down towards Harlan and Atlantic. And that band really hasn't changed position much. And so that is where the concern lies right now for the heaviest snow totals out of the storm system. Snow totals so far here in the metro area appear to be extremely light, if not nothing at all, because we've seen largely rain and sleet in many areas. But that's still producing slick conditions. It is mixing with snow. And the further east and north you go, that is where you're going to see a higher ratio of snow in that mix, causing additional problems through the morning commute. We'll take you back out live now to our First Alert Storm Tracker as they're making their way on area roads. You can see there a little bit of a slush mix kind of collecting on the roadway there, especially problematic on those, as you see, the overpasses that they travel on at times. But that is going to be the biggest concern, especially on area side streets, not the major highways, is that slush collecting, really reducing reaction time and greatly increasing the distance needed for braking, and that obviously can be a recipe for problems as traffic picks up on area roadways later this morning. I want to go back now to one of the crashes we've been monitoring right now. This is at I-80 westbound and 13th Street. Nebraska Department of Transportation has zoomed this camera in a bit, and we're getting a better look at exactly the mess that was left there. We did receive reports of one person hospitalized as a result of this crash. It looks like it involved at least 1 or 2 semis I believe that may be a semi that spun out. So obviously, several lanes of I-80 at 13th Street there are blocked off right now as they're working to clear that scene. So traffic is going to be extremely slowed in this area for the foreseeable future until they can get this cleared away. As you see, traffic being redirected into the rightmost lanes, maybe 2 lanes at best, as they're trying to work their way to process that scene while keeping traffic flowing through that area. So especially the interstates, which are always busy, those are going to be the areas of concern as we move through the morning hours. As again, one of the more significant crashes reported so far this morning. Crews are still working to clear that scene. And unfortunately, if this crash was serious, that may delay that effort because they will have to process that scene for evidence as part of their investigation. So again, I-80 at 13th Street now significantly slowed travel because of that crash earlier this morning. That crews are still working to clear that scene right now. This was one of just several crashes we had reported earlier this morning along I-80 near I-480, which has also dealt with some issues in that area as well, because a lot of these elevated roadways are where the slickest conditions are this morning and will continue to be until we can get above freezing either later this morning or early this afternoon once conditions improve. But right now, I-80 near I-480 is the biggest problem in the metro area right now as we continue to move deeper into the morning commute. Over in western Iowa, we did receive a couple of reports earlier this morning. We have a crash in the eastbound lanes of Highway 34 between Stanton and Highway 71. We also have a crash at I-29 in the southbound lanes near Modale, south of Mondamin. And these are really impacting traffic. And these are areas where a greater amount of the precipitation falling has been snow, and that is not only causing problems with slick conditions, but also greatly reducing visibility, as it is a heavy snowfall in those areas that's falling. Unfortunately, not a lot of traffic cameras along these stretches of roadways, so working to get more information on those and when or if the crews may be able to get those cleared out of the way. All right, let's go back now to live First Alert radar. And you see that mixed bag out there right now. And it is likely to stay that way through the morning, as the precipitation is going to hold on here for quite some time. Likely through the rest of the morning commute here in the metro area, lasting a little bit longer to our east. And just getting an update from our weather team that we have an update to the snow forecast. I'm going to try and pull that up for you here. Rusty just giving me the word that we have an update to the snowfall forecast, so let's pull that up for you here. There you see here in the greater metro area, 1 to 3 inches of snow remains possible, much lower totals out towards the Gretna and Wahoo areas. And then the heavier totals right now expected to our east in the Atlantic and Red Oak and Creston areas, as we were telling you, where that heavier snow band has developed, and the precipitation is expected to last longer this morning. 3 to 6 inches of snow possible in that area, approaching warning criteria, but still right now below that. So the main concern for us right now is the slick conditions, but those heavier snowfall totals will prolong the problems to our east, especially in that I-80 corridor between the intersection of I-880 and Atlantic. That is going to be the main concern, as well as areas of Highway 34 east of Red Oak. That is where we expect to see the heaviest snowfall this morning as we continue through the morning hours. And this will be an ongoing concern, especially east of the metro area. We still have some slick conditions to get through here during the morning commute, but uh, the good news is the trip home this afternoon will be much better as temperatures will rise above freezing, and we shouldn't see any lingering problems because of this. But again, heavier snow bands still expected along I-80 between 880 and Atlantic, stretching southeast towards Creston, and Highway 34 east of Red Oak. Those are going to be the primary concerns later this morning that will likely prolong the road issues to our east until, again, we can get this snow melted and the roads treated. Let's go back out live now to our first alert storm tracker, and you can see traffic moving along at a slower pace than usual. As you can see, definitely some slushy conditions there on area roadways, but no widespread problems so far. That's the good news for the metro area. But the further east you get in the metro area, the closer you get to the Missouri River, as well as in western Iowa, those road conditions that are deteriorating a lot faster as more of that precipitation is falling as a sleet-snow mix, as opposed to maybe a rain-sleet mix in much of the metro area this morning, with a little bit of snow as well. But again, conditions there really causing people to slow down, and that is likely to continue as traffic picks up later this morning. Back now to first alert radar, and live look there as you see that mixed precipitation falling mostly along or in the metro area, stretching up north along I-29 up to Missouri Valley. And then that heavy snow, those dark blues and light purples you see there in the Minden and Harlan areas along I-80, that is going to be the real problem area for the next few hours, where they could see upwards of 4 to 6 inches of snow in that area. Because of the mixed precipitation here in the metro, the good news is we don't expect to see any heavy snowfall because this will largely fall as mixed precipitation, rain, sleet, snow. That will cause problems on area roadways, as we've already seen this morning. But the good news is that will all be treated and melt a lot faster than in western Iowa. And so no major problems for the afternoon commute are expected, as temperatures should rise above freezing, especially after noon today. And any lingering problems in the metro area should melt away with it as those temperatures continue to rise this morning. Let's go ahead and zoom out and throw this on a loop for you, and you can see not only the progress of the precipitation as it's starting to push off a little bit to the east now, but the problem areas we've talked about in western Iowa along I-80, you see those heavier snow bands that have fallen are not really moving. They're kind of training over the same area, and unfortunately that's how they're going to see that significant snowfall over a short period of time. Especially to the east of 880 along I-80 over to Atlantic, and then stretching all the way down to Red Oak and Creston. That Highway 34 corridor also going to be a problem this morning. That is not what I wanted. Some of the problems that we've seen in western Iowa that we've been telling you about: Highway 34 eastbound between Stanton and Highway 71, a crash reported there. Another crash along I-29 near Modale, it looks like impacting traffic in both directions. The crash is in the southbound lanes, but traffic in both directions is being impacted by that as slick conditions continue in that area. Again, there you see the motion of this wintry mix pushing through the metro area this morning. And the winter weather advisory does remain in effect until 1 o'clock this afternoon. hopefully by then we'll see a major improvement as temperatures continue to warm across the area, and the precipitation will come to an end later this morning. That's the good news. Uh, but still have to watch out for some isolated slick conditions over the lunch hour, but the main problem is going to be during the morning commute. As we told you, this is a look at the metro area snowfall that we're looking at. 1 to 3 inches right now. The further west you get, you're going to get on the low side of that range, as a lot of this isn't falling as snow. It's falling as rain and sleet and more of a mixed bag. And that is preventing a lot of it from collecting. And again, these snow totals are for, grassy areas, as road temperatures are hovering right around that freezing mark, not really collecting on roadways, just producing a lot of slick conditions. But again, this will all change as we will eventually get up into the 40s later today, and that should take care of all of the problems before your afternoon commute. I want to go ahead and zoom this out a little bit so you can see that area that we're concerned about in western Iowa. This is where the heavier snow is lining up this morning. There you see 880 and Interstate 80 stretching south and east down towards Creston and Highway 34 in southwest Iowa. This is going to be the main area of concern for heavy snowfall, where it is falling as essentially all snow and not as at any kind of wintry mix this morning. Get an updated look at traffic issues in the area. There you see that crash at I-80 and 13th Street remains a problem, slowing down travel in the metro area. The one bit of good news is right now, not a lot of traffic out there at this early hour. But where conditions have deteriorated more along I-29, 880 and 80, you see a lot of slow travel even at this early hour. As crews are trying to get those roads treated, but more of this is falling in that area as a mixed bag or just simply as all snow, and that is causing additional problems in that area. Let's take a look at the official road condition reports in Nebraska and Iowa. Not getting a lot of reports out of Nebraska, but here you see that massive deterioration that we've seen in the last hour in western Iowa. Most roads now reported as completely covered with either ice or snow. Partially covered roadway south of Red Oak and Shenandoah to the east. But again, essentially where you see those completely covered roadways, that's where everything has been falling almost exclusively as snow. And therefore, that is where we expect to see the heavy snowfall totals of 4 to 6 inches over the next 2 to 4 hours. Okay, we're going to take a bit of a break here, and we'll go ahead and leave the radar up for you. And when we come back, we will have a full update on area roadways as well as some of the crashes we're seeing across the area here. And we will give you more live looks from the storm tracker as well as our sky cams and DOT cameras across the area. So stay tuned. We'll be back with you in just a moment.
Live from WOWT, this is our First Alert 6 weather day.
And good morning for you, Nick Weig here in the Alert Center as we are tracking the difficult road conditions as the morning commute just getting underway this morning. We have been tracking some issues out there with the mixed precipitation falling in the metro and the heavy snow falling over to our east in western Iowa as well. We are watching a crash that we're just getting from Council Bluffs. We're going to pull this up for you here real quick. There we go. So this is near the I-29, I-80 exchange in Council Bluffs at the in the eastbound lanes at the South Expressway. You can't really make out much because of the droplets on the radar there, not on the radar, on the camera there. But there is a crash there that has occurred in the eastbound lanes of I-80 near the South Expressway. Looks like traffic, it's unclear if traffic's getting through on the right side of this crash or if they're redirecting that traffic onto an off-ramp. It's hard to see. We'll see if we can get this refreshed here. There we go. But it looks like traffic may be getting through in the rightmost lane there of I-80 in the eastbound direction, as you see traffic beginning to pick up in the westbound lanes there as well. But some type of crash has occurred there in the eastbound lanes of I-80 near the I-29 interchange, and that is slowing traffic in the eastbound lanes. Right now, westbound looks okay, but this has kind of been what we've seen all morning long, as various crashes have caused problems across the area in these early morning hours as a slushy mix fell in the metro area, and that has caused problems. Let's take you into west into the metro area. This is I-80 at 13th Street near I-480, where we've seen a number of crashes this morning. This one, the most serious. We have been told at least one person has been hospitalized, and just getting word now from Omaha Police have just provided an update on this. The eastbound two left lanes at I-80 and 13th Street are closed as they are working to tow 3 semi-tractors that were involved with this. All 3 did have trailers on them, and all 3 are now blocking that roadway. So only one lane of travel right now open in the eastbound lanes of I-80 at 13th Street. I believe we were told earlier one person was taken to the hospital as a result of this crash. But again, because so many semis were involved, it's really impeding travel. Very, very slow going there as you see that one lane as traffic is beginning to pick up, really getting reduced. So just something to keep an eye out for if you make your way through the metro area. Eastbound I-80 right now, the biggest problem. This is at 13th Street, where crews are working to clear out 3 semis that were involved in a crash earlier this morning because of the slick conditions in the area. All right, let's get an update on those conditions now. We will take you out to live First Alert radar, and you can see what we're dealing with this morning as conditions have continued to deteriorate in many areas. Right now in the metro area, this has really been a story of a mixed bag of precipitation, especially the further east you go. Western parts of the metro area not seeing as many problems, as much of this is either hitting warmer ground or more of this is falling as rain. And that is limiting the impacts in those areas, which is the good news. Let's go ahead and zoom this out now and give you a look at what's been happening over the last hour across the area. There you see that mixed precipitation in various forms falling across the metro area as well as portions of western Iowa. The bigger concern weather-wise is that stretch between Tacoma, Harlan, Atlantic, and Creston. We've seen very intense snowfall rates over the last couple of hours. It's beginning to ease off a little bit. That's the good news, but still moderate snow showers in that area, really hampering traffic, really reducing visibilities and road conditions along Interstate 80. East of 880 over towards Atlantic, and that is expected to continue as that is where the heaviest snow is expected to fall. More on that in just a second, but just a quick reminder, we do have a winter weather advisory that remains in effect for the counties shaded in purple until 1 o'clock this afternoon. Once we reach that point, the precipitation should have let up. Temperatures should have warmed across the area. We're supposed to get into the 40s before sunset tonight. And that's the good news, is that this is just a short-lived, poorly timed winter event during the morning commute. Shouldn't see any problems during your trip home later this afternoon. Now, as for those snow totals, right now at most 1 to 3 inches across the metro area, really dependent on how this continues to fall. So far, most of it has fallen as a mixed precipitation, and so really just producing a lot of slushy conditions. But at least where it collects on grassy surfaces especially, you could see 1 to 3 inches higher totals the more east you go in the metro area. And then to our east in western Iowa, that is where the heaviest band appears to be setting up for this event. Let's go ahead and zoom in on this area for you. You see Oakland, Atlantic, Creston, as well as Harlan. This is kind of the axis of the heaviest snow we expect to see over the next 2 to 4 hours as this wintry system makes its way through. And so this is where the main road concerns are going to linger after the morning commute as we push through your Tuesday morning. Fortunately, the more mixed precipitation we've seen in the metro area has kept our snow totals greatly reduced, but we're still looking at a few hours left of precipitation that we're going to have to contend with. Now, taking a look at those traffic reports, there you see those crashes we've been telling you about this morning. The one we just showed you in Council Bluffs, as well as the one along I-80 near 13th Street, and that is where we're seeing, as you can see, the eastbound lanes, which has been reduced to one lane, traffic moving extremely slow. In fact, according to the latest data we have right now, that traffic is now moving at best 20 miles per hour, likely slower, as we saw in the live picture just a short time ago. And so that is one of the major problem areas in the metro right now. Zooming back out, you can see as traffic is picking up, we're seeing some slower travel on several roadways. The same especially goes as we look into western Iowa along I-29, 880, and 80, seeing a lot of slow travel where that heavier snow is falling at this hour. And that is likely to continue for some time and likely to continue to get worse as more cars hit the roadway over the next couple of hours. Back now to live first alert radar as we continue to watch this mixed precipitation falling across the metro, and there you see that heavy snow band to the north and east impacting travel largely in western Iowa this morning, causing a lot of problems over there. I do want to point out, let me double check here, but I don't believe we've received any school announcements. No, we are getting some school announcements now. It looks like in western Iowa. Atlantic Community Schools has issued a 2-hour delay. Fort Calhoun Community Schools 2-hour delay, and Stanton Community Schools now has a 2-hour delay. So we're going to go ahead and, if you notice at the bottom of your screen, I've gone ahead and put those school announcements there. Now running at the bottom of the screen, replacing the winter weather advisory, which is in effect until 1 o'clock. So as we continue to get it, if we do get additional school announcements for the area, you will see those now at the bottom of the screen. go ahead and take you back out live now to our First Alert Storm Tracker, which is checking on area roadways. And there you see, as they're making their way across the metro area, a little bit of slush and snow collecting on roadways. Looks like some piles there from where the plows may have come through and kind of pushed it off of the lanes in the intersection there. So still collecting on area roads, mostly wet there. You can see the puddles there on the roadway, but especially over bridges and overpasses, that's where we're seeing some of that begin to freeze up and producing some isolated slick areas. Earlier this morning, as we've seen crashes occur along the interstates, a lot of that has to do with slushy conditions, really impacting traction, and anyone traveling a little too fast, changing lanes or making a turn. That is when we have seen the biggest issues with crashes, especially along Interstate 80, both here in Omaha and also over in Council Bluffs, where we had a crash reported just a short time ago. In fact, let's take a look at a live picture of that again here. This was near the 8229 interchange at the South Expressway. This is where we got a report of a crash, and it looks like at least one lane remains open in the eastbound lanes. Westbound traffic doesn't appear to be impacted by this, but just another area where traffic is slowing down as a result of first responders responding to crashes because of those ongoing slick conditions. A couple of other crashes that we had reported this morning: Highway 34 eastbound between Stanton and Highway 71 over in Iowa, a crash reported there. And then also I-29 southbound near Modale. This is where we've seen some pretty significant slowdowns on the roadway because of a crash in the southbound lanes, but northbound traffic also slow going in that area. Back now to our storm tracker as they're making their way on area roadways, and obviously much slower travel than usual, as still some slick spots on area roadways, especially bridges and overpasses this morning, and that is likely to continue through the morning commute as traffic continues to pick up over the next couple of hours across the metro. Let's go back now to live First Alert radar, and you see that mixed precipitation continuing to fall across the metro. Radar is really trying to determine what's falling. So even if it's displaying mixed precipitation, that could still be falling as snow. It could be falling as rain. This is what the radar is detecting above the surface. It's not the greatest at detecting exactly what's hitting the ground, but the bottom line is it's 31 degrees right now downtown. Anything that falls onto surfaces, especially colder surfaces like bridges, overpasses, and grassy areas, is going to freeze, even if it falls as rain. And so that is going to continue to be a problem until those temperatures get above freezing later this morning, early this afternoon. We're going to continue to see those slick spots across many areas during the morning commute. Let's zoom out right now and take a wider look at this over the last hour. You see the trend of this pushing off to the east-southeast. Eventually, the precipitation will come to an end here in the next hour or two in the metro area. That's the good news, but we will still have to contend with temperatures until they can warm back up later this morning. And so until that happens and area roadways get treated, that is going to be a bit of a concern throughout the morning. As a result, we do have this winter weather advisory that remains in effect until 1 o'clock this afternoon. Heaviest snow will be east of the metro area. That's the good news, but could still see 1 to 3 inches on grassy surfaces by this afternoon. Most of this will be gone by tonight as temperatures will get up into the 40s. That's the good news. But further to the east of the metro, that's where that heavier snow band appears to be setting up in the I-80 and the Highway 34 corridors between Harlan, Atlantic, Red Oak, and Creston. That is where we expect the heaviest snowfall totals to come in when all is said and done. Here's another look at those traffic reports coming in at this hour. Those two crashes we told you about along I-80 in Council Bluffs and near 13th Street here in Omaha. Widening this out, we're seeing a lot of problem areas to our east Uh, as far north as Denison in the northeastern part of our viewing area, some significant slowdowns there along that curve. We'll zoom in on that here. Highway 39, you see that sharp curve there. That is where traffic is slowed considerably, either because of a crash or just because of the icy conditions. And then also where we've had crashes reported along Highway 34, I-80, and I-29, we're seeing a lot of slowdowns at this hour. Fortunately, for the most of the metro, things still look okay, still seeing some slowdowns. Basically, any overpasses and bridges, slick spots like that, especially where mixed precipitation is falling, those slushy conditions are enough to cause a spin out or to cause a car to slide off the road, and that is going to be the main concern. Fortunately, though, so far, no widespread reports of issues, and I think that's largely why we're not seeing any school announcements or anything in the metro area. The metro area, school still on as scheduled, just a handful of delays in western Iowa, and we are running those at the bottom of the screen right now, and we will continue to do so in case any more do come in later this morning. As we take a wider look at area road conditions, getting a lot of reports from western Iowa right now, as well as northern Nebraska. Tacoma reporting mostly covered with snow and or ice. I-80, I-880 all reporting mostly covered with snow and ice. And the mostly covered conditions stretch well into Iowa between Minden, Atlantic, Oakland, Creston. Basically that area where we expect to see the heaviest snowfall rates over the next few hours, already completely covered with snow in this area. Partially covered roadways to the west here by Red Oak, Essex, Shenandoah, Yorktown, Clarinda, and Bedford, where a little bit more of a mix has fallen, and so snow and ice is a concern in that area as well. Back out live now to First Alert Radar as we're monitoring that precipitation falling in various forms across the metro area this morning. We'll continue to monitor that here as conditions are not expected to improve for a little while now. And that has just added to the headaches in many areas. In fact, one of those problem areas we've been showing you all morning is I-80 at 13th Street. This is the eastbound lanes where at least 3 semis hauling trailers were involved in a crash earlier this morning. Crews are trying to get that scene cleared, but as you can see, only one lane of I-80 eastbound is open right now. And that is really impacting travel in that area. We also had some minor crashes along the I-480 corridor near I-80, slowing traffic earlier this morning. But this is the main one causing the most problems this morning. Again, I-80 eastbound at 13th Street, where 3 semis were involved in a crash. Not sure if any other vehicles were involved. We did hear earlier that there was somebody taken to the hospital for treatment. But again, this is the biggest travel headache right now in the metro area as people are just getting out and about. I-80 and 13th Street eastbound lanes down to 1 lane because of those 3 semis stuck in the roadway as crews are working to figure out exactly how to get those out of there before traffic picks up anymore. So expect delays in that area probably throughout the morning commute as it will take some time to get that scene cleared away. Now back live to First Alert Radar as we continue to monitor the precipitation falling through the area, moving in from the west to the east. Hopefully we'll see a break in the precipitation relatively soon, especially in parts of the metro, but unfortunately to the north and east, it's going to continue for some time to the tune of several inches of snowfall, especially from Tacoma down to Harlan, and the heaviest snow totals around the Oakland, Atlantic areas where up to 4 to 6 inches of snow could fall before all is said and done. Again, the good news is we're not seeing any major school delays or business delays. We have just a small number of school delays in western Iowa, but fortunately here in the metro area, everything appears to be on time, as for the most part, roadways do remain passable. Just some slushy and slick conditions, especially on those bridges and overpasses that you need to be aware of. Just give yourself some extra time, keep extra space between you and the vehicle in front of you, and of course, take it slow, especially on those curves on the interstates. That's where we're seeing a bulk of the crashes this morning. Back now to our first alert storm tracker in the Omaha area, taking a look at road conditions. Again, the further west you go, things appear to be much better, as most of this has fallen as mixed precipitation and is not freezing up on the roadways as much because of the traffic, as well as maybe a slightly warmer there, right at or above the freezing mark. Here in downtown Omaha, we are below freezing at 31 degrees, so that is going to be a problem on many area roadways. But again, as traffic picks up, and the precipitation begins to ease off, we should see conditions improve somewhat quickly here in the metro area. But on side streets, especially where there's less traffic, that is going to be where we're still going to see those slick spots, as well as those bridges and overpasses, which could be colder than 31 degrees because there is no ground underneath it warming that asphalt, unfortunately. So those are those slick spots you're going to have to watch out for. No widespread issues this morning, but again, it's those isolated areas that you're going to have to watch out for. Even if for the most of your drive things appear just fine, just a little wet, that's not going to be the case along your entire stretch, depending on how far you're traveling. And so you need to keep that in mind when you think it might be okay to travel at normal speeds. In many places, it will not, as those patches of slick roadways are going to continue to cause problems through the morning commute. All right, we're going to take a quick break here, and we will be back with you in a few minutes with an update on area roadways. And until then, we will go ahead and leave the radar up for you and be back with you in just a moment.
Live from WOWT, this is our First Alert 6 weather day.
And good morning, Nick Weig here with you in the Alert Center as we are tracking some problematic areas across the area because of some snow and mixed precipitation falling both in the metro and areas to the north and east this morning. We're going to show you some of the updates that we've gotten in the last few minutes. Some good news for travelers out there, especially in the metro area where we've seen some problems, especially along 80 and 480 and area bridges and overpasses that are colder than the rest of the roadways. And so that's where some of the icier, slushier conditions have been this morning. We want to go ahead and start now with a live picture from Interstate 80 at 13th Street, and very different than just about 20 minutes ago where we had three semis blocking the roadway and reducing the eastbound lanes down to just one lane, which really had things backed up there. It appears that the roadway has been cleared away and all of those lanes have now reopened. So that is the good news there, that those eastbound lanes appear to be reopened as they got those semis out of the roadway just in time for the peak of the morning commute coming up here shortly. That was the biggest crash we had this morning. Again, that has been cleared away, but we have been monitoring conditions in several other areas as well. Let's take you out live now to our First Alert Storm Tracker as they're checking some of the side streets right now where there remains some slick conditions. But the further west you go, more of the precipitation has fallen as rain. Temperatures also might be just a slightly warmer. We're at 31 degrees here downtown, which is a problem, but 33 and up, maybe further west, and you don't really have any problems except for on those elevated or grassy surfaces where a little bit of that snow and sleet is collected. But again, conditions the further west you go into the metro doing a lot better. I know some people in our chat on Facebook have asked why isn't school canceled. That's a big reason why. It's very isolated this morning where those slick spots are. And conditions are expected to improve as the bulk of the precipitation is beginning to push out of the metro area right now, and most roadways should be just fine. But if you do have kids heading off to school, you will need to make sure they just be a little careful if they're walking on sidewalks. Could be some slick spots, but again, in most of the metro area, side streets and all that are faring a lot better than they were a couple hours ago when more of this was falling as snow and sleet. So I think that's a big reason why we're not seeing any school announcements here in the metro area. We are seeing some announcements further to the east in western Iowa. We're going to go ahead and put those on the screen here right now at the bottom of your screen. And these are just 2-hour delays for right now. So those are now running at the bottom of your screen, and we'll continue to update that list as any new school announcements do come in. We also had questions about overall how the roads are doing out there, and I think overall they're doing pretty good. Again, it's just these areas where that mixed precipitation has been falling in the metro area, and again, that is producing those slick spots primarily on bridges and overpasses that are a little bit cooler and are not responding well to the freezing precipitation. Candy commented about an hour ago on our Facebook page that it was real bad in Harrison County over in western Iowa. Wasn't really able to see which side of the road she was on, and that is absolutely the case. The further north and east you go, things are quite a bit worse. Let's go ahead and take you to First Alert live radar here, and we'll show you what we're talking about. There you see that mixed precipitation beginning to exit the metro area. That's the good news. But further to our east, that precipitation is going to last for some time now, and much more of it has been falling as moderate to heavy snowfall blanketing parts of western Iowa. There you see from Tacoma down to Harlan, now that mixed precipitation beginning to enter the Atlantic area, but we were seeing some very heavy snowfall rates earlier this morning. And this is the area where if it does remain largely a snow, we do expect to see anywhere from 3 to 6 inches of snowfall in that corridor from 29 over to 880, 80, and then down towards Highway 34 near Creston. That is where the highest axis of snow is expected to fall. Let's go ahead and put this into motion for you now, and you can kind of see the progress as the radar is picking up more mixed precipitation aloft. That doesn't mean it's not falling as snow on the ground, and in many of these areas, temperatures do still remain below freezing, so some very slick conditions, especially north and east of the metro area, as hopefully things are going to begin to improve here in Omaha. very shortly. We do still have a winter weather advisory in effect until 1 o'clock this afternoon for the county shaded in purple. Uh, but again, conditions, especially on the west side of this advisory, Wahoo, Fremont, and in the western part of the metro area, I think conditions are already improving, and so that is the good news this morning, and a big reason why we're not seeing a lot of school announcements over on this side of the Missouri River. Let's take a look at those forecasted snow totals. Again, a trace to 1 inch out west here in the metro, 1 to 3 inches. Again, this is on grassy surfaces, not on area roadways. Even sidewalks may not even see much accumulation. But further to the east, where that heavier snow band has been falling all morning long, that is where the potential for 3 to 6 inches exists, and that is the area where we are seeing those school delays this morning. With several schools over in the Atlantic and Red Oak area now announcing 2-hour delays. And we will have to see if they're able to get kids to school here a little later this morning or not. But again, just 2-hour delays being reported. Often where that heavier snow band is expected this morning. No major problems right now in the metro area, just those isolated slick spots. Here's where you see where we've been seeing those crashes largely along Interstate 80, but we did get a new crash reported. I believe this is this on Dodge? We'll go ahead and zoom in here and see what we can find. So yeah, this is 72nd and Dodge Street. We had a crash reported just about a half hour ago, or excuse me, no, yeah, this is, I believe that time is incorrect. 6:32 a.m. has not happened yet, but do have a report of a crash at 72nd and Dodge Street that we are keeping an eye on right now. No indication of how serious that is, but we did have somebody message us about a pileup on Dodge, and that, you know, that's not too surprising when a slick spot occurs and, you know, people are not giving themselves enough time to brake. You can see that kind of chain reaction on area roadways, and unfortunately that's likely what happened in that area. As for the greater area, road conditions for the most part doing okay here in Nebraska, with the exception of Tacoma, west towards Norfolk, and Iowa really getting the brunt of it right now, from Minden, Oakland, Atlantic, Creston, completely covered with ice or snow right now, and that is likely to continue for some time, as the snow will continue there for a while and temperatures will remain below freezing. Back now to live first alert radar, and we're seeing a lot of the blues that we saw earlier now being replaced by the pink mixed precipitation. And also we should point out here that it is beginning to let up here in the metro area. So some good news, especially Elkhorn should largely be in the clear right now, minus a few light showers or a little bit of sleet falling. And then as you move to the east, we are seeing this begin to push out of the metro area. So some good news there for commuters who haven't hit the roads just yet. We're also seeing most of the crashes that we saw early this morning have been cleared away, and we haven't heard of many others over the last hour. So that is certainly some good news this morning. No additional crashes, I believe, reported on the other side of the river. Just the crashes we had reported along I-29 and I-80 in Council Bluffs. In fact, I don't believe... let's check on that crash. The crash on I-80 in Council Bluffs, it appears, has been cleared away now. Traffic is now flowing normally there, as road conditions appear to be largely okay at the moment right now in Council Bluffs. But again, that crash that we showed you near the I-80-29 interchange now has been cleared, and traffic is now moving in both directions in all lanes. Any slowdowns that we are seeing reported in the metro area now largely have to do with elevated roadways that are also curves, and that is where traffic is really slowing down, not necessarily because of crashes, but because of traffic just simply going that slow. And that's a good thing at this hour, because that is where the greatest risk of slick conditions exists, where the road temperatures are much colder. And that is where people really need to allow extra time to travel to prevent any crashes and additional travel delays. There's again a look at the loop, and you can see that things continue to improve here in the metro area as the precipitation is beginning to let up somewhat, and hopefully that will bode well for those of you heading out in the next hour or so. But again, the main band is going to be well to the north and east of the metro area. West Point receiving a lot of snow this morning to Tacoma, down to Harlan, Atlantic, and Creston. This is kind of where that axis banding of snow has set up through the morning hours. But even that is beginning to weaken a little bit, and hopefully that'll keep the snow totals down in those areas. But still, the potential on grassy areas in that portion of western Iowa of 4 to 6 inches of snow over the next several hours. Again, a winter weather advisory does remain in effect until 1 o'clock this afternoon for the county shaded in purple. And hopefully we may see this let up sooner rather than later for portions of the metro area. But again, western Iowa is still under the gun for not only mixed precipitation, but some moderate to heavy snowfall over the next few hours. But for the metro area, I think once we get through this morning and a few headaches this morning, I think this afternoon, the afternoon commute will be just fine. Temperatures right now below freezing downtown, but should be up into the 40s by the time you get ready to head home. We'll take you out live right now to our first alert storm tracker, checking on some of those side streets and city roadways. And so far, everything looks pretty good at this hour. And hopefully that is going to continue to be the case. You can see in the median there and those grassy areas, some snow and sleet has collected, but not seeing anything additional in the roadway. We did see a lot of slushy conditions earlier this morning, but it appears a lot of that is beginning to let up as the precipitation has begun falling, mainly as either a mixed precipitation or just plain rain in some areas. As they are making their way up the ramp here onto one of the highways. And fortunately, it looks like right now the biggest delays is just in those construction areas, but as they're making their way across an overpass right now, these are the areas of most concern where we're still worried about some slick spots during the morning commute. But right now it looks like travel is somewhat slowed, but everything moving along relatively decently this morning. That's the good news. Hopefully that will hold as the traffic rates pick up later this morning. But again, right now, things looking pretty good. You see that sleet and snow is collecting kind of on the shoulders. And so that, again, is an example of those bridges and overpasses being colder, and that is where some of that moisture on the roadway can still freeze even if it fell as rain. And that is what we're going to watch out for this morning across the metro area. All right, back out live now to First Alert Radar, and you can see that mixed precipitation still making its way through the metro area, but slowly but surely exiting. And hopefully we will see an end to the precipitation here in the next couple of hours. But the rate of that precipitation still on the downward trend, and that's the good news, as hopefully the worst is behind us, and the rest of the morning commute won't be as impacted here in the metro area. Unfortunately, to our east, it's another story. As you can see, the heavier snow bands falling. This is the area where we're getting some reports of school delays. We are running those at the bottom of the screen right now. And right now, we do not have any reports from the metro area. Everything in the metro area remains on time this morning. But again, over in western Iowa, where conditions are quite a bit worse than we're seeing here, that is where we're seeing several school delays this morning. And again, those are now running at the bottom of your screen. We're going to show you some of our sky cams here now as traffic is beginning to pick up in spots. Here's a live look from Children's, Nebraska, and you can see, traffic is picking up, but again, no major problems out there right now, as it looks like most roadways in the metro are remaining just wet. You did see on our storm tracker just a short time ago that we're still seeing that collection of wintry precipitation on area roadways, but really it's largely contained to the bridges and overpasses. And usually overpasses include a little bit of a curve, and that's where we're seeing the majority of problems this morning. But hopefully that will continue to ease off as we move through the rest of the morning. As this precipitation now letting up across the metro, and that is aiding the melting, especially on roadways with traffic kind of warming up the road and melting that any slick precipitation out there. So things look to be improving just in time here as that morning commute you see there really beginning to pick up. Again, this is a live picture from our Skycam at Children's, Nebraska. Now let's take you further west where conditions are also a lot better. This is 90th and Dodge, and no major problems all morning we've seen here. A lot of precipitation, some ponding on area roadways, but no indication of any slick spots outside of those wet roads. So traffic moving along very well now as conditions continue to improve across the metro, and then further west out to 144th and Dodge. This is one of those overpasses I love to keep an eye on during winter conditions, and right now it again looks really good, just wet. Hopefully temperatures out there are at or above freezing, and then enough traffic is moving that's keeping those roadways a little bit warmer. So even on the overpass there, we're not seeing any significant issues, and that is a good sign if you're heading out the door. Just need to keep an eye out for those isolated slick spots the further east you go, especially bridges and overpasses where that wintry mix is still collecting. Now here downtown, we are still at 31 degrees as we take a live look at our Blackstone Plaza camera, and a lot of rain on the camera there, but fortunately no major problems reported in the downtown area. But again, just need to watch out for some isolated slick spots. But so far, everything seems to be melting pretty well, and again, just in time for the peak of that morning commute. All right, we're going to go back to Live First Alert Radar. We're going to take a quick break here, and then when we come back, we'll give you one final update this morning before you head out the door. And then we hope you'll still join us for First Alert 6 at 7 a.m. coming up here on our Facebook channel and on our website. So we'll be back with you in just a moment.
Live from WOWT, this is our First Alert 6 Weather Day.
And good morning again. Nick Weig with you at the Alert Center on this First Alert Weather Day. Hopefully at least for the metro area, an improving First Alert Weather Day as conditions are beginning to ease up and traffic is moving along at a good clip now. Unfortunately, we do still have some crashes to tell you about, and we're going to go ahead and take you out live right now to the latest crash we received word of. This is, again, at I-80 near I-480 in the JFK area. This is a crash, may have involved some injuries, so I don't know if this one will be cleared up quickly. But again, this just called in a short time ago, and you see traffic is now backed up in those lanes behind it as they're moving traffic off to the right lanes. But again, this is near the 480 interchange at JFK. Another crash has occurred, causing a bit of a tie-up there in traffic. And we'll continue to keep an eye on that. But we are going to see these sporadic crashes this morning as there are still some slick spots, especially on those bridges and overpasses that you need to be advised of, as the slick conditions and isolated spots will continue through the morning commute. Fortunately, none of them appear to be widespread. That's the good news. And as we take a look at live First Alert radar, you can see why the precipitation now moving out of the metro area. That is the good news. Temperatures do remain slightly below freezing across the area, but with that heavier traffic, we do expect conditions to improve later into the morning. And by the end of the day, temperatures should rise into the 40s. So any snow that is left or any piles of snow or slush should quickly melt away. That is the good news. Unfortunately, it is not good news in western Iowa, where heavier snow has been falling through the morning hours. That is why there's a number of school delays in western Iowa. We are running those at the bottom of the screen, you see. And right now, that snowfall does continue from Tacoma to Harlan and Creston. So that is where the worst road conditions are being reported right now, as that snowfall continues to fall along portions of I-29, 80, and Highway 34 in western Iowa. We'll go ahead and put a loop on this over the last hour, and you'll see how that precipitation has begun exiting the metro area over the last hour. That will help to greatly improve road conditions as no more freezing precipitation is falling, and that should greatly improve and reduce the area of slick spots that we're dealing with out there. However, a winter weather advisory does remain in effect for now until 1 o'clock this afternoon for the county shaded in purple, and that is largely for those slick spots, and especially out in western Iowa, where we do expect the heavier snowfall. 1 to 3 inches at most here in the metro today, although that's going to be on grassy or elevated surfaces, as roadways and pavement is largely melting a lot of this as it hits the ground. And again, that heavier snow band to our east in the Atlantic, Harlan, Red Oak, and Creston areas, 3 to 6 inches of snow possible there. Let's take a look at the latest road updates. There you see the crashes we've had reported along Dodge Street, and then the latest one we just told you about along 480 on the JFK Expressway, and that is leading to a lot of reduced travel. Here you see Highway 75, the northbound lanes greatly reduced right now. In fact, we'll take a quick look at that for you. And yeah, moving at about 10 miles per hour at best, as those crashes are further aggravating the situation out there. And it's not just the metro area dealing with problems this morning, as we're seeing a lot of slowed traffic in the area. The biggest impacts in western Iowa are along I-80 and Highway 34, where we've had a number of crashes reported, and that will continue to be the case as we move through the morning hours. And that's also where the worst road conditions are being reported. Many areas of western Iowa now reporting partial to completely covered with snow and ice, as that snow continues to fall across the area right now. A little bit of good news is we should see conditions improve. I don't believe this is correct, so we're going to skip that. I wish I could say it was going to be 71 tomorrow, but let's go back to the radar now, and you'll see where that frozen precipitation is as it is exiting the metro area right now, and that is the good news. Let's go live now to our First Alert Storm Tracker, out and about checking those road conditions. And largely they are doing a lot better than they were just a couple hours ago, as the Slick spots have greatly reduced as that precipitation has largely come to an end. A little bit of drizzle out there right now, but in most places of the metro, traffic moving along just fine. Just those isolated slick spots where we've seen a small number of crashes that has led to some backups, especially in the 80-480 corridor area. A lot of elevated roadways in that area, a lot of curves, and that is where we're seeing the bulk of the crashes this morning. But again, most areas doing much better now that that precipitation has come to an end. Let's take a live look now at Children's Hospital and or Children's Nebraska Hospital here from our Skycam. There you see traffic moving along at a good clip now as, again, conditions continue to improve, especially on those surface ways that are not elevated, as largely just wet conditions now as the road temperatures are beginning to come up a bit. Even though we're below freezing still here in the downtown area, those road temperatures are beginning to come up, and they will continue to do so as by the end of the day we should reach the lower to mid 40s across the metro area. So that is the good news at this hour. We just have to keep an eye out for those sporadic crashes that we're seeing on those elevated roadways, and that has slowed traffic down considerably, especially at the I-80, I-480, and Highway 75 areas where we're seeing the biggest impacts to travel right now. Again, though, the main concern now focuses north of the metro as well as east of the metro, where snow and mixed precipitation continues to fall at a pretty heavy clip. That is where we're seeing the bulk of the road problems right now along I-80, I-29, I-880, and then further to the southeast, east of Red Oak along Highway 34, where we're seeing a lot of that impact at this hour. Here's a look at the last hour, and you can see how that precipitation has largely moved out of the metro area right now, and that should be about it for the day. And so we should see things greatly improve over the next 2 to 3 hours across the metro area as temperatures will begin to come up, and whatever slick spots are left out there will finally melt away. Still wet roadways, and that will cause some issues if people don't slow down or allow additional time to brake. So even wet roads can be a problem, but for right now, the major issues appear to be behind us now as the precipitation is let up and road temperatures begin to come up here as we've just hit the 32-degree mark here in downtown Omaha. So as we continue to go up, the problems will largely go away across the metro, but they will linger for quite a while in western Iowa. That's where we're seeing those school delays this morning. We are running those at the bottom of your screen, and we'll continue to do so throughout the morning. So I think that's going to do it for us here this morning as we're getting ready for our 7 o'clock show here. We will continue to run information on the bottom of your screen throughout the morning. We will also have the very latest on First Alert 6 again coming up at 7 o'clock, and continue to bring you updates on air and online throughout the day as conditions warrant. I want to thank everyone for joining us this morning. And again, whenever the weather warrants, we will be here both on air and online to bring you the very latest. While we've been talking about winter weather this morning, we're going to get a bit of a break from the weather, but we do have several chances of showers and thunderstorms in the days ahead, especially starting this weekend and moving into next week. Our First Alert 6 weather team will bring you the very latest on that as leading up to it. And we will also bring you the latest on here if the weather warrants on First Alert 6 social media and on our 24/7 streaming channel. Until then, I want to thank everyone for joining us. I'm Nick Weig at the Alert Center.